Jason, when did you fall in love with soccer?
Wow. Uh, Five? When I was five. When I started playing, I was 5 years old, and it was just something I was good at. I was always pretty athletic, but soccer is what I was allowed to play at the time because everything else was like really expensive. And, we were a middle class family. So, it was fine. They're like, nope, soccer is what you're playing. It's the cheapest sport. And I'm like, totally understand. Let's do this. So yeah, at five, but I'll be honest, I think my true love didn't spark until I started coaching.
Wow.
When I could get outside of playing and trying to have to be a great athlete and do things, when I could get outside of that and see the entire game and learn how to see the ins and outs, the strategies, the formation, stuff like that, that's when I really started to love the game and I really started to actually understand the game more.
Okay. Okay. So you started as a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
You made your way through, you played, and then somehow you started coaching. How did that happen?
I decided to quit playing my junior year of high school because I just wanted to be a senior and not have to worry about it. I just focused completely on school. And after I said I was done, my dad, who had coached me for many, many years, and honestly, that's where my love of giving back came from, was seeing that, listen, this man worked his you know what off every day for his family, but he would still go out and he would coach us, and he would coach us 2 3 times a week plus games, and he had that dedication to help. So that's where that kind of stemmed from. But he still had a bunch of contacts. Was it at the Livonia YMCA or whatever it was at the time? And there used to be a team, they may still exist, called Livonia Meteors.
Hmm.
And they needed a team, they needed a coach. So at 18, they said, come coach. Your dad will be your assistant because he's got his D license right now, and you need your D license to coach that. But we'll send you the classes and we'll get you your D license. So at 18, that's when it all started. I got my D license and they went from there. Let me put it that way.
Dig into that a little bit more. Where did it go from there?
It was me learning. It was hard because I was an 18-year-old kid who was coaching 10, 11-year-olds, right? So I was really close, in age. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. Um, so it was me learning coaching and learning different things. I mean, it took many, many years. I mean, there were years I would get into my head and I would overthink a game. And I did that with you guys a lot. And I think that's where I learned a lot of that, which is, hey, let's run 3 or 4 formations in a game. And I was like, dude, just stop. Just let them play and then build off of that. So that was huge too. But that's where coaching win is. Like, I went from the Meteors. I actually was doing community theater when I met Eric Phillips and then Mark Phillips. And Mark was like, hey, I've got a team. And I'm like, oh, I used to coach goalies. And he's like, why don't you come on out and take a look? And I'm like, okay. And from there, it was the Fury family. And I never left.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's incredible. I did not know the community theater background at all.
yeah,
I would love
yeah.
to learn a little bit about that. What was that like?
I was in theater and choir in high school. They wanted me to try out for a musical, and I was like, I don't want to do that. That's scary stuff, being on a stage in front of people, right? But then all of a sudden, there was just one day I was like, I'm just going to do it. Let's see what happens. Let's have some fun. And I actually got cast in the musical as a background. And just something I did through high school. And me being who I am, I always wanted to strive to be that next level. And I wanted a lead. And I could never get that lead. There's a lot of talent in high school, and I could never get that lead. So I had heard of a community theater. I'm like, oh, I'll audition for it because my whole thing was I want that lead, which I finally got down the road. But it just happened to be where that's where Eric was trying out, and he was the younger version of me in the show, which was pretty hilarious actually. Which is how I got to know him and knew he played in soccer and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it was one of those school things. Like, I didn't play band, I didn't play an instrument or anything like that. I was like but I had to do something, right? Soccer, but I had to do something in school. And actually, choir was good for me because it kept me structured. I was a very, when it came to grades, I wasn't the greatest, but it was just mostly because I was just all over the place. ADHD and all that stuff, that wasn't a thing back then. It was just like, wow, he's just, he just wants to be the class clown and have a lot of fun, which is partially true. But yeah, that's just how I was, which is honestly why I got along with you a lot. So I remember the crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, as do I've evolved some, but that core never goes away, man. And
I hope not. I hope not.
I get really bored by what you would call a traditional life.
Yeah.
So I'm
Mhm.
constantly trying to find productive outlets. I think at 39, I may have finally found a couple that lead to something positive, but I've been all
Yeah.
over the place, man.
But that's
So
okay. I mean, you wanted to find what you wanted. And
yeah,
that's what anybody ever wants. It's like, hey, let's find what I really, really enjoy. And that's what I want to do.
right.
And that's just how it should be. And that's what I tell my son all the time. I'm like, listen, find what you want. It might be do what you're doing for the rest of your life. It might not be, but find something you enjoy doing every single day. Because
Yeah,
otherwise, what's the point, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah. I remember playing for you incredibly fondly. It's still one of my most formative experiences, and it was interesting to hear you sort of talking about you played, your dad was your coach,
mhm.
that you became a coach, and you talked a bit about that, and that's where you and I had an intersection because I played for you. Then it sounds like you coached your own son.
Yes, which is hard,
Can you maybe
which
tell me about that? What was that like?
that was also part of the reason I was brought to the Fury was to try and help the parent son relationship because I had been there before with my dad. Being an actual father and having a son on the team, it was not easy. It was not easy at all. It was hard to separate being a father and being a coach. And it was one of those things where him and I had to talk a lot. I mean, he was 7, he's now 13. Very smart kid, very smart kid. So he understands and we would talk a lot about it. And I'm like, listen, when it comes to soccer, I'm your coach. I'm not your dad. And I think once in the time that I coached him from 7 years old till 13, I had a dad moment where we were in a tournament, we were up big, we got a PK, my son was playing in goal, and I said, you know what? Go take that PK. That was my dad moment. I'm like, nope, I'm doing this, and I don't care what anybody thinks. So it's hard. It's really hard because he was unfortunately diagnosed with something called FND, which is a functional neurological disorder last year. So he had to take an entire year off, which then you saw me still coaching because that's just who I am. It's about the team. It's not about, I'm here for my kid, but I'm also here for the team. So it was that balancing act that I had to play. But again, it's about the team. You have to, like I was taught in the business world, and you may have gone through this yourself, where you have to be able to separate friendship from business. And I learned at a very, very young age. I think I was 18, 19. I was working at a company and my best friend was the vice president of the company. And I had to learn, guess what? He's not your best friend here. And there were some hard lessons there, but that lesson goes into soccer as a coach and son because you have to learn to be able to separate coach and father. And it's very difficult to do, but I think I did all right, so I tried. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can you draw any parallels between, and maybe it is for you less so you're playing, but more so you're coaching,
Mhm.
what your coaching may have led you to unlock in the professional world?
Teamwork, big time. I'm going through this as we speak. It's let's build a great team. Let's work together. You notice more and more. I don't know if it's nowadays or I'm just noticing more nowadays is a lot of people are they're looking out for themselves. They want to advance themselves. And that's great, but one great way of doing that is having a team, having people there to help you and lift you up or back you up if you need some help. Teamwork is huge for me, and it's always been huge. I use it every day. It's in me where I'm like, no, we're a team. You know, you get that one individual who's like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and yep, I get it. But remember, we have a team, and the team is huge.
Yeah, yeah. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the professional career is? What are you doing?
Wow, I kind of fell into IT a long time ago. I'm currently a systems administrator for a company called Ziff Davis. I don't know if you remember the old PC magazines and stuff like that. There is still PC Mag and everybody, but they came in and acquired a company I work for called Offers.com, who does digital couponing. So what I am is I'm a systems administrator. I work with a team of about 4 or 5 people. My boss is out in New York. Um, with COVID, a lot of offices got shut down, and then they tried to reopen some offices, but now we're just at home. I love IT work because it's that challenge. It's that learning new things. It's learning new things that happen every day. You know, there's new technology now. You've got AI, right? So AI is coming out. So it's how are you going to do your job and integrate AI, or is AI good for this job?
Yeah, yeah. That's all very interesting. So you have a team, 4 or 5 people with you. You're
hmm
remote. Your boss is in New York. Where are you?
hmm I'm in Austin, Texas. I moved out here I got married in 2008, moved out here in 2009. I was part of the automotive layoffs in 2008 in Detroit. So it was tough finding things. So I'm like, okay, what do we do? And we kind of looked at each other as newlyweds and we're like, let's try somewhere else and see what happens. So I started applying out in Austin. I had a job in 3 weeks.
Amazing.
I was without a job in Detroit for almost 8 months. So it was a long time, and I was laid off. I was laid off right before our wedding.
Wow.
So that was, yeah. I want a do-over. It's what I want. It was like I was just in a daze at that point. But yeah, so we came out to Austin and we love it out here. It's just we get maybe a month of winter. Yeah, do we have to deal with triple digits? I'll take it. I'm okay without the snow and the ice. I really am. But, 2 years back we had that huge ice storm, which pretty much took out everything. So um, I was like, no, I moved for a reason. Let's keep this away, please. But yeah, so I'm out in Austin, Texas. I'm out in a suburb, North Austin. My wife is a teacher for a school district, and she works with kids with autism. It's just been it was a great decision. Let me put it that way. It was a
Yeah,
really great decision. We love it out here. We miss family, but again, it was just a good decision for the family and for us.
yeah. That's great. I'm glad it's worked out. And
hmm
I'm gonna shift gears back a little bit more soccer centric. I'm
Sure.
curious, what is the best soccer match that you ever experienced in person?
Wow, that's a good question. In person, do I go back to the Detroit Express? No. In person, as a coach or as a spectator?
Maybe one of
Either
each.
way, one of each. Okay. Man, as a coach, it's hard to say. I'm not even going to say the coach because it's hard to say because you guys had a lot of them. I remember some really, really good high school ones that we had that were huge. You know what? I will say one. Stevenson High School, when we went out and beat them for the first time in I think a really, really long time. That was huge, right? That was probably one of the best matches I've been a part of. As in I've seen in person, we had gone to a bunch of out here. We have the Austin FC MLS team, and it's probably like 30 minutes away by train. So we went out there and we watched a couple matches, and there was a team from Mexico that came in for a friendly, and it was fantastic just to watch the control. The other great thing was it wasn't all the Austin FC starters. It was a lot of the bench players getting time, which was really, for me, that's really cool to see. It's like you want to see those young kids who don't get a lot of that time develop and play against these professionals. And so that was, that was probably it. I haven't been able to go like to a lot of huge soccer matches, but I would say those are the two as a coach and then as a player.
Awesome. Awesome. So, having been part of the ecosystem in the US for some time now,
Hmm.
where would you like to see US soccer go next?
I would like more of this. I'd like there to be more MLS teams currently. I love what they've done with the women's league. I think they've done a great job with that. I think they're very conservative on the other pro level, like Detroit, right? I know you guys is Detroit Metro going NPSL? Is that what I saw?
We're playing in the UPSL.
UPSL, awesome. But then you have a couple of the other clubs that are out there. But Detroit's never been able to get an MLS team. And unfortunately, that's because of politics and red tape. You know, hey, you don't have that. I would like to see us as a country just embrace it. I'm tired of hearing the well, soccer's more popular overseas and in other countries. Yeah, okay, you might be right, but I'm starting. It's growing. I would like to see less politics, and this is just me. I would like to see less politics in the game. I think a lot of coaches are that are good for the teams, good for the kids, aren't getting a fair shot because a lot of it seems like a lot of clubs I know out here are going to pay trainers.
Yeah.
We're gonna pay people to do this. I get it. I understand if you want to pay a trainer to come help out a team, that's great. But that doesn't necessarily make them more qualified, right? Um, there was a gentleman I worked with in the last club. He's from Brazil. Amazing. He is great with the kids. His name's Hugo. He's great with the kids. He does fantastic work. He is actually taking my old team over, which is great. But there are others that just it was a politics game, right? It was like it's hard. I think politics is huge. It was huge when I was back in Michigan.
Yeah.
I never saw Mark go through it, um, but I'm sure that it was there, you know. And there was always the politics of if you're known, you get an opportunity. And I think I did see where they were talking about US soccer, youth soccer, and it was like, hey, wouldn't it be great and wouldn't these teams be amazing if kids with a lot of talent got the opportunity, not just everybody who has the money to get where they need to go.
Yeah.
And it, it's always been that way, but I think it's now there's more light on it with some of the failures that have happened nationally. I think there's more light on, hey, there's a lot of really good talent, but they're just not seen. And we need to fix that. We need to fix where these kids, if they're 18, 17, 16, 15, they need to be seen. And when I was coaching this last team, I actually told two of the players, I'm like, listen, I know what your dreams are. One of them has a dream of playing college soccer. I go, you're going to have to be less comfortable and go try out for a better league. You know, one that's going to give you what you need to continue growing. And I see a lot of kids being put in a place where they're really good, they're really talented, but unfortunately, parents want them to be stars. It's more about, hey, look at my kid scoring 50 goals a game. And it's not about why is my kid not growing as a player and
Yeah.
not being more of a team player that, you know, that. So those are some big things that I love one day to be. And again, it's the world. You can't just wave a magic wand and say fix. You know, people have to want to fix it. And hopefully that happens because I think there's a lot of talent. I know in just this area that I'm in right now, so much talent. It's crazy. And there's a lot of clubs and a lot of pay a lot of money to play clubs, you know, and very little of the clubs that are charging less but letting kids play and getting that same experience. So
Yeah.
that was my long-winded answer to that question.
That was an excellent answer. I really appreciate the depth that you went into. So thank you for that. If you could share a few things with an aspiring young player, what might those be?
you have to work for it. You have to work hard. You have to be willing to work outside of the Tuesday, Thursday training sessions, or you have to be able to work outside of the games. You don't have to live and breathe it. And I would always tell kids, this isn't going, this shouldn't be your life. Your life is family. Your life is school right now. This is something that you want to get better at. So if there's aspiring soccer players out there, I just tell them, listen, it's better to be part of a team and than to be a star of the team, right? You can score 5 goals a game, but still be the team. And I would just want them to just be good people. It seems simple, but I don't think I think I always went about coaching as, yeah, I'm teaching you guys how to be really good soccer players and how to do great things, but I want you to be good human beings. And that's what I told all the kids that I've ever coached is just be a good person, good sportsmanship, worry about your grades. That became more of a thing now that I have a kid. With you guys, it was more of, yeah, whatever. Let's just go do this and do this. Right? Coach, I've got homework. Hold on. We have like 5 more things we need to do. But now that I have a son, it's like, no, I get it. Grades are more important. You can skip practice if you have homework.